Hi guys, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to help you structure your training sessions so that you get more out of your individual training sessions. So let's first talk about the length of the training sessions. How long should your training sessions be? I get this question quite a lot, and my recommendation is training for at least 90 minutes, trying to aim for the hour-and-a-half mark, just because that's how long a typical football match lasts for. There are exceptions, obviously with cup games, sometimes you might go into overtime, but in general terms, it's going to be about 90 minutes long, so you should get used to working for about 90 minutes at a time. Now, the first component of a good training session is a good, healthy warm-up. So all you need to do, you just need to jog back and forth, getting some movement in, getting the blood flowing, getting some dynamic stretches, just moving around. If you do want to see a full warm-up that I've performed before, I'll put a link on the screen right now where you can see that full warm-up. But if you don't want to do that whole warm-up, you don't want to set up cones and things, I would recommend just getting 2 lines, jogging back and forth, getting a lot of static and dynamic stretching, lengthening those muscles, make sure the blood's getting all to those working muscles that you're about to use in the training session, and making sure you're ready to go so that you don't get any injuries and that you can actually perform the exercises more effectively. Now that we've got our bodies nice and warmed up, it's good to start getting some touches on the ball, starting getting that one connection between your mind and the ball itself. So you just want to do something basic, something small and technical. It can be something as simple as juggling the ball, but if you have something like a wall that you can do some passes off, or if you have a teammate to pass back and forth with, that's going to be really good as well. Just getting the nice touches on the ball, getting used to using it, because you're going to use it at a higher intensity as the session goes on. So it's good to warm up with it at a slow pace. If you don't have a wall, you can just kick the ball up in the air and get some touches down, just do some simple juggling. Or if you want to lay out some cones, you can do some simple dribbling in and out of the cones, using all the different surface areas of the foot, so that when we come to the more intense activities, you've already got a good foundation, you've warmed up your feet, and you'll be able to perform them more effectively. I would say for the technical session, you should be aiming for about 15 minutes, getting lots and lots of touches, hundreds of touches, so that you're ready to go at a faster pace as we move on. So now that we've got our bodies nice and warm and lots of touches, it's time to start increasing that intensity. So now we're moving on to a segment of agility and speed work, and this is essential for every player on the pitch, goalkeepers included. Especially in the modern game, you're changing direction all the time, and to be more effective, you want to be able to change at the quickest speed you possibly can. So these drills are going to really work on that, so it's good to adapt these kind of drills into each and every training session. If you want to see a whole variety of these kinds of drills, I'll put another link on the screen right now where you can see a full episode of agility and speed drills. But this is just one of the examples. This is the quadrado drill that I've shown you before. So it's a lot of changes of direction at very high speed. You can do this with and without the ball. I'm going to show you a few examples now without the ball, and then we'll move on to a few examples with the ball. For your agility work, again, you want to be aiming for about 15 minutes or so. You want to get a good workout in so you can break it down into sets and reps. What I like to do is 4 sets of 3 reps with this one. I want to go at 100% with each one. So after I've done 3 reps of each exercise, I like to have a good rest in between, get some water so that when I come back and do another set, I'm going at 100% every time. So now we're moving on into the main component of the training session, and this is the part you want to spend the longest on because it's going to be very game specific to your position. And that's the key. I get a lot of questions, what is the best drill for a certain position on the pitch? And the best drills are the one that replicates a match situation so that you can repeat them in training, so that when you come to a match, you've already done it hundreds of times, so it becomes very fluent. So for myself as a winger, I'm going to show you an example of a drill that I might use. So I've got a cone here at the corner of the 18-yard box. I've got 2 cones in the middle, just in front of the penalty spot. So this is the situation. I might kick the ball up in the air, control it with a good clean first touch, dribble towards this cone at the edge of the 18-yard box. Then I'm going to fake either way, so working on some one-on-one moves, some body feints, and then I have a choice, either cut inside and shoot, aiming for that far post, so like an inverted winger drill, like I've shown you before, or taking it to the outside down the line and cutting it back along the ground. It's a very effective type of cross, especially in the modern game, aiming for in between those 2 cones so that in an actual match, a striker could come on and finish it very easily. So if you're a centre mid, you can work on things like passing, you could work on turning sharply and finding targets, either using cones or mini goals or something like that. work on your turns and distribution. If you're a goalie, obviously you're going to work on some shot stopping. If you're a striker, you're going to be working on finishing and things like this. Make sure whatever the bulk of your training session is very specific to your position. That's going to be the best drill for you, is trying to reenact those moments that actually happen in a game. So as we mentioned before with the speed and agility, these are attributes that every single player on the pitch needs to have. And in addition to those attributes, you also need to be very fit. Every single player on the pitch requires a good level of fitness if they want to play at a good level. So we need to add some fitness specific into our training sessions. So this is a drill I like to use. Again, I will put a link on the screen for an entire video dedicated to fitness drills. But this is just a good example because you want to be very game specific with your fitness training. In a football match, you don't just sprint the whole time, you don't jog the whole time, you don't walk the whole time. You're doing a variation of all of those things at different intervals. So that's what we want to try and replicate with this drill. So I've got a cone on the line, then I'm walking out to the first cone, going up into a jog, building it up slowly as we go, maybe getting to 50, 60% of my top speed. Then in between the third and fourth cone, it's a full sprint, because that happens a lot in a match. You need to be able to activate your speed in a heartbeat. And then you're going to break it down into a slower jog, get to the other line, turn and repeat. And you want to do these kind of drills for 10 to 15 minutes minimum. That's going to build up a good sweat, a good cardiovascular workout, and that's going to build that foundation of fitness that's going to allow you to play effectively for 90 minutes. So again, do these training sessions for about 15 to 20 minutes, and you'll see your fitness levels dramatically increase. You want to include it in every training session. And just before my cool down, I like to add some specialty work into my training sessions as well. And this is going to be different for every player. So these are the kind of skills that not every single player on the pitch is required to do. So for me, I'm typically a free kick taker, so I'll stay behind for an extra 10 minutes working on my free kick, trying to get those clean and consistent. But you might be a corner kick taker. If you're a goalie, you might want to work on some goal kicks. If you're a centre mid, you might want to work on some long balls, etc., etc. So basically a specialty skill is something that you have that you need to do on more occasions than most players on the pitch. So you might want to get some extra practice in. So like I said, for me, it's free kicks, or sometimes I might do corner kicks as well, or penalty kicks if you're a striker, and I like to work on those for 10 minutes before I cool down at the end. So now that the training session is complete, we can't just leave the pitch. We do have to do a cool down, otherwise we're going to be very stiff the next day. It's not going to be very good for our muscles. So to cool down, you want to get a light jog. You want to bring that heart rate down slowly. You've just been doing some intense work. You don't want to go from a high heart rate to basically resting heart rate in a split second. You want to gradually decrease that. Make sure you're flushing out that lactic acid at a good pace. And then you want to focus more on the static stretching. So at the beginning, we were doing more mobile stretching, trying to put those body through those actions that we're actually going to perform. But at the end, you want to be doing more static stretching. So you're going to be doing more lengthening of the muscles, sitting down, making sure you're holding those stretches for a longer period of time, 20 to 30 seconds for each stretch. Make sure you're getting a good amount of water in your system at this point as well, and then you'll be good to go and you'll be well recovered going into your next training session. All right guys, so that's the end of the video. So hopefully you get an insight into how to structure your training sessions better so that you're not just showing up to the pitch, doing a few juggles, taking a few free kicks, but you're actually showing up with a purpose and you're getting the most out of your training sessions that are going to help you and benefit you in actual match scenarios as well. So as you can see, I didn't use much equipment whatsoever. I have this nice training facility, but I've spent many years just growing up training on just grass pitches that don't have goalposts and things like that. The only thing I really ever used was a set of cones. Really simple piece of equipment, but it really helps me with my training sessions. You might have seen in my other videos that I have a variety of training equipment, but at the end of the day, when I was growing up, the only thing I really used was training cones. It allowed me to perform a variety of drills and get the most out of my training sessions. As you can see, it's just a good way to mark out the drills themselves. Gives you a marker to aim for when you're dribbling, when you're actually doing the agility drills. It gives you obstacles to run around. Just a very effective piece of equipment. And if you want to check out where I got these cones, you can look in my description. They have a shop on Amazon, QU Sports. There's a lot of different varieties of equipment out there, and this is just my recommendation for having as a minimum piece of equipment for your training session. So make sure you check them out in the description if you do want to get yourself a set of cones. But that was the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought. Hit that like button if you did enjoy it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for weekly training videos, and I will see you guys in the next video.